Hello everyone and welcome to the Gear of the Week show here on the Golf Monthly YouTube channel. I'm joined this week by Neil Tappin. Hello Neil.
Hello Dan.
And back again, Martin Hopley.
Hi Dan.
Invited you for a second time, well done. You obviously passed muster first time around. And it's nearly 2023 chaps. Had a good 2022? Good time?
Yeah, no, I played more golf this year. So I did a video at the end of 2021 saying that I think I'd played sort of 29 rounds of golf or something like that. And my aim was to do 30. I did that.
Oh, well done.
And some, actually.
Wait, your goal was to play one more round than the
Well, yeah, just play more golf than the previous year.
You technically play more golf.
It's a simple New Year's resolution, but it's one that's achievable, which I feel like is always important. You want to set yourself an achievable New Year's resolution. That's what I did.
Martin, any 2023 golfing New Year's resolutions for yourself?
Probably just play a bit more, try and enjoy it, play a bit better, usual stuff.
Exactly, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. There's a good tip for everyone. Well, I hope you're looking forward to 2023. But we're sat here today to talk about 2022, aren't we? But before we get stuck in, obviously, Neil.
Golf equipment question.
Got a bit of golf equipment question on the Gear of the Week show. Go on, mate.
Right, okay, so in 2022, we saw the launch of Cobra's LTD-X range.
We did, very good range.
What does LTD stand for?
Oh,
now,
wow.
You're looking at your laptop as if that's going to have the answer. I can see that you're not on Google.
It's just my notes for this. If you do see me typing away, it might be.
Yeah, you can look at that as much as you like, but all you can see there is Gear of the Week. So, Dan's looking particularly clueless. I'm going to go Dan first.
It's like my job, you know, and I'm getting all these questions wrong.
Yeah.
It's not a great look.
You've got to have more of an inquisitive mind, Dan.
The name comes out and I go, okay, that's the name. I just take it for what it is, take it at face value. I'm going to take a guess, though, at limited.
Limited.
Okay,
LTD, that's what you mean.
Limited,
LTD,
you see what I'm saying?
So you think it stands for something, 3 words, is it?
It does.
He's not giving anything away here.
Yeah, is this what you're after?
An acronym.
Usually these things are anacronyms, if you can say it.
But you said your answer.
That's my answer.
I'm not sure. Do you want to say something like long technology distance or something like that?
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to give you half a point.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So it's longest total distance.
Oh,
I would have also accepted living the dream, which I heard on a product launch where someone said that, and it made me laugh. But no, I think it's longest total distance.
Very good, and it wasn't far off, was it? Really?
Very good driver.
Good set of drivers that was in 2022.
Really good.
I've got to work my game really.
You do.
Kind of getting embarrassed. It's been a bit of a trend.
You got one right.
The one I got right was, I think, was like
the question that you asked.
Yeah. Always next year. Maybe that's my resolution for 23.
Yeah.
The Gear of the Week quiz questions. 2023 right on the horizon now, chaps. So we're here to look back at 2022 and a year of golf equipment in 2022. So we start out. Was it a vintage year for golf equipment? Do you think?
Go on, you start, Martin.
A lot released this year. We've gone through a lot of reviews on the Golf Monthly website. Martin.
I think there was a lot of new products. There were some interesting technical developments, probably in categories that were not the mainstream categories, if you like. I think the drivers, it was, with the exception of TaylorMade bringing out their carbon faces, then most of the others were just increasing their forgiveness. A lot of really good products. I think the quality is there right across the board. So in that respect, I think it's been good for golfers.
You didn't ask the question. Was it a vintage year for golf equipment?
Yes, no, I'm not sure actually. I don't think there wasn't stuff that really stood out for me as being, across every, that's really good, that's really good. I mean, they're all good, obviously, but whether they were taking big leaps forward, I don't know. What did you think?
No, I think that's fair. I think maybe not giant leaps forward. I did think, though, that it was a year of very exciting golf equipment to look at.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got a red-faced driver in front of us. If we were sat here in 2021 doing our review of that, would we have guessed that? I don't think so. No. So that was quite a shock when that came out. So more
stuff to excite people. And I think the point you made there is a good one, that across the board, if you're looking to kit yourself out, whether it's new putter, driver, fairway woods, whatever it is, there's no excuse for finding something that doesn't look great. And it should tick pretty much all of the boxes, especially if you go for a good fitting. So, I understand. Did the technology give people mega amounts of more performance over the previous generations? I'm not sure it did, but the refinements are just getting better and better and better every year. Mm-hmm.
I think there's probably a lot of developments in accessories. I mean, Joel's done a lot of reviews with gadgets and training aids and stuff.
Gadgets had a good year.
Yeah, I think that sort of thing is those sorts of things, I think, where there's probably more of a vintage year, I think.
Innovation.
I think the jump in for a vintage year for gadgets, you brought that up. I thought it was a good one. a vintage year for affordable gadgets. I think technology that was out of people's reach is now getting into people's reach.
Oh, yeah.
Price-wise, that is. Portable launch monitors, innovations in lasers, and information gathering tech you use on course. And a lot of fun stuff for that.
Yeah, and I've got the feeling we might be talking quite a lot about price this year.
Oh yeah, actually,
so
yeah.
anything that has the word affordable next to it is going to.
big,
I
yeah.
feel like it's going to be quite important.
So we're going to talk about our gear of the year, I think, aren't we? We're going to talk about some of the favourite products we've been testing, or something that's just stood out in general for being a leader in its category.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off, Neil, with something you've really enjoyed this year?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So when I thought about my picks for gear of the year, I did think about those products that I felt stood out because they were doing something a bit different.
Yeah,
So my first nomination for gear of the year would be the Ping chipper.
Yeah.
And you know, I think when we first heard that Ping were doing a chipper, I think immediately the people who can't chip in our office got an email saying, Ping, I've got something coming, this is ideal for you. And there's sort of a bit of a sideways glance. But then when you saw the product, it's like this has actually been designed to look premium, to look cool in the golf bag. It's not a kind of like, it shouldn't be a sort of symbol of, I can't chip. It's actually an aspirational golf product. And I thought that's what they nailed about that. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, but it's got the tech and the bells and whistles that play there. And I do think that for those people who struggle around the greens, there is a bit of a solution there of having more of a putting technique, more of a reliable action that can help you get up and down. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a few more popping into this category in the near future.
It's a great choice because I think the biggest thing is your point that a brand like Ping have bought one of these out, and you don't have to scutter your way to Amazon to find something that you're not sure if it's good quality or not. You know it is going to be with this.
Yeah, it is. And I think it almost had a bit of a dual function because you could use it for longer shots than just chipping as well, wasn't it? Which I think in the past, those types of clubs haven't been able to do it.
Just looking at the picture from Address now, we'll flash it up. It looks not dissimilar to my 559 from Address. You know,
Yeah.
You've got the same look of a Ping iron there. There's a lot of a 9 iron.
I'm not sure I would use it from.
I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't.
I think I'd probably wouldn't, but I think do you know what? There are moments where I think I could do with a chipper.
Oh, genuinely, they really are. But what's stopping you from just using a 9 iron? Is there a little bit more forgiveness in it?
Yeah, there should be more forgiveness in there, and it's more upright. It's got more of it's basically designed to be used with a slightly different technique, a bit of a safer technique, for stopping those kind of slightly thin shots or fat shots that can really cost people. So that's what it's for.
Yeah, Mark Townsend, who reviewed this for us, said that very awkward 40-yard chip was a good area for that. You know, when sometimes you de-accelerate a wedge or you fat it. This is something you can just go bang, bang on a dry day, especially on a linksy course, maybe off it goes toward the hole.
And that was those longer shots. I mean, you would think it's just done around the green, but it's those 40, 60, 80-yard things where you can take a bit of a longer swing of it, and it will just get the ball up in the air and run it out.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd have to keep practicing with 7 irons and 9 irons and all this sort of stuff. It's designed for that job.
That's something I've tried this year more to do, is not use too much loft around the greens. I've been using my own wedge or 9 iron or 7 iron, and I've struggled with it, to be honest. It's a hard art to master, so this is kind of a fast track way to it, perhaps. But
Indeed.
Look out next year for some other brands. Maybe some big brands might bring one of these out. Who knows? Martin, one of your nominees for Gear of the Year, please.
Well, just probably go back to saying earlier about sort of vintage years. I felt that I'm going to pick the TaylorMade Stealth Fairway. I know it's a fairly mainstream club in a fairly big area, but I know a lot of people find it very easy. It's extremely forgiving, and they've kind of every now and then I think with each manufacturer, one of their models will stand the test of time, and I feel this might be that one. I've been using it quite a lot myself, and I think it's very easy to get going. It's really forgiving, and there's very few people. It's going to have mass appeal, and I think that's why I'd probably give it a star this year.
I chose this for my ultimate bag, a video you can find on our YouTube channel now, and for those exact reasons. I think it looks brilliant, and I love looking out for a club that's been released that's new, that we think is going to still be in people's bags in 5 years' time, still being spoken about, has mass appeal on the second-hand market, and it feels like specifically the fairway wood in the Stealth range might have that in a few years' time.
Yeah, I would broaden this out a bit and just say fairway woods in general would be an area where if you haven't invested for a few years, that you're really going to notice they're so much easier to hit. And I think fairway woods are difficult clubs to hit for most golfers, and the technology that has been introduced is just year on year making them a bit easier for people. So if you are using something that's a few years old and you're struggling, then maybe now is a good time to look, because all of that R&D work they're putting in, the brands, they're not like they used to be, fairway woods. I used to be a terrible fairway wood player, and now I would say I've got a modicum of trust in my own game. And I use a Titleist. I've got a TSR 2 fairway wood, which I love, really love.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good call, that fairway. And I think you're right. You know, the brands have been saying for a long time that the 3-wood is the hardest, it's the lowest launching club. It's the hardest one to launch these days because the drivers are teed up so much. That they are getting that CG down and they're getting the ability just to make it easy to fly, which is, I think both of those models do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And was 2022 the year of the 7-wood, perhaps a renaissance for the 7-wood? I've seen a lot. Was that a couple of years ago?
I think we've been saying that for a few years.
I
reckon
I missed that one.
2023.
It will be the year of the 7-wood. Really, okay, building up to it, are we?
Yeah.
Okay,
So Dan, go on then. What's your first nomination for?
Shoes. I love shoes. I like talking about shoes. I like wearing shoes. I like playing golf in good shoes. And by far the best shoe of the year, if you've seen my best shoes video on the YouTube channel, was the Echo Bonham C4. Martin, I know you've tried this as well. Gore-Tex, breathable, soft materials, that really cool chunky sole with the holes in it, which is both aesthetically pleasing and I think, you know, is pulling that cold air in to keep your feet nice and cool. You can take the insole out if you've got a slightly wider foot. I can't stop talking about them really. Everyone I've seen in the industry this year, Golf Monthly or others, and we chatted about shoes, I always come back to these, and you've liked them as well, haven't you, Martin? They're pretty cool.
Have, and just for all the reasons you said, I think for a Gore-Tex shoe to be that sort of cool in the hotter temperatures was great. That venting underneath really does work.
Yeah.
And they were so easy to break in. Their leather's always very soft and supple, and it was, they're a joy to wear.
My only gripe with it, and this might be a me problem, is mine are trash now. Because I've worn them so much, but because, I don't know if you find this on golf shoes in general, either of you, but on your follow-through foot, so my left foot for me, the toe obviously digs in over time. Sometimes the material isn't easy to wipe clean and it sort of comes ingrained. And I found this with the Echo slightly, which is a bit annoying. So maybe I'd have gone for a grey or a black one.
Oh, do you know
if
what?
you find this with golf shoes in general, it does annoy me.
We should do a video on greatest golfing bugbears. Any
top of my
nominations
list.
for that, leave them below. I think putting on a new pair of golf shoes and then going out on the course and then your foot snagging on like a thorn and then you just know what you're going to look down on, what you're going to see. You're going to see a little scuff mark.
There's all experience coming out.
It's not. It's really that.
Or if you get a pull on a new quarter zip because you've been in a bush or near a tree or something.
So that happens
that's
to
one.
the average golfer, i.e.
That's
all of
all
us.
right.
You know, that is the sort of problem that we face, isn't it? It's like you've backed into a
real
bush to
golfing.
play a shot, and now your quarter zip is stuck in it. So manufacturers, there's a call out for you. Can you work on those elements?
Idiot-proof golf shoes. Yeah. Quick shout out to the Adidas code Chaos 22, which was a really comfortable shoe, a surprisingly comfortable one this year, and the Under Armour Hovertor SL, which has this most unbelievable spikeless outsole, grip-wise. You could wear it on a very rainy day like today at the London Club and still get on really well with it, I think. So some really, really good golf shoes this year. Neil, I'm going to come back to you for this one.
Okay.
And one that I've seen a lot on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
people are really into this product.
Yeah, so it's a golf ball, and I'll premise this by saying it's not a golf ball that I use, right? But it's got a technology that I would use and that I really liked.
Right.
Okay, and that is the TaylorMade Tour Response stripe. So it's the ball with the kind of lime green stripe that sits around the middle of it. And I just thought it was the first time I'd seen anything like that. And from the kind of training aid perspective, I could see it had some value. So hitting putts, seeing if you're starting putts, how strong the roll of your putts are, whether you're starting them on line. And then when you're out on the golf course, that alignment, that visual alignment aid that you get was so clear. In terms of the Tour Response itself, really good, solid golf ball for the price. In that mid-price band, it's a very strong performer. It wasn't the strongest for me. I mean, a shout out to Vice, I think, for their golf ball. I really like that. Really like Titleist have a very good golf ball in that, as you would expect, as did Mizuno was another one that I really liked. But I thought the TaylorMade was a very strong performer in that category, but particularly the stripe. I like that very much.
Yeah, I mean, that mid-price section of the market in golf balls has become quite popular. That's something you see in 2022
Definitely.
picking up.
Yeah, definitely. Non-tour urethane covered
that's it.
golf balls.
Now, I've not used the stripe on course either. I have used it to putt, and it is great. I would find it, I don't know if people who have used it at home might know, is it distracting to use potentially if it's sat on the fairway and there's no placing and the line's in a funny spot? Have you used it before, Martin?
I've used that type of thing where you have that alignment thing. It doesn't bother me too much when it's on the
skew
grind.
width.
Yeah,
Skew
Yeah.
width.
it suits my game.
Yeah, it's teach your swing path. You go, right, come across it. Yeah, I can see how that might get
Yeah.
annoying for some people. It doesn't particularly bother me, but I can see how off the tee and on the green that alignment assistance can really help. And it's very striking.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I think Pix, TrueViz, the Strixon Divide. There's lots of innovations aesthetically coming with golf balls.
Yeah,
that I think are
there's
there
some
to-
really good colours, like
Yeah.
in the Titleist Velocity range. You've got some quite bold colours in there as well. So, yeah, there's lots to choose from in that regard.
Lots to choose from in golf balls. Martin, you're going to talk about a putter for us. You are our putter expert,
I have.
so I expect nothing less from you to try and crown a putter as a piece of gear of the year. What have you gone for?
Well, there's a few actually, because obviously we did the video with all the review of them. I
Yeah.
think I'll get a couple of honourable mentions.
Please.
I think the PXG Battle Ready range was a nice surprise. I hold a lot of pots with them, and they've got the fitting thing where you can put any hosel into any head and then any shaft into any hosel, which I thought was
So you can
very good.
effectively, that means you can have the shape of head that you want,
Yep.
but designed to work with your stroke, right?
Correct, yes. So you've got the sort of straight single bend hosel, so that'd be if you want a face balanced head, and then if you want a slight toe hang, you've either got the half offset or the full offset hosel.
Yep.
So that was interesting, because then you could get like a higher and wide head, put the shorter hosel in, and it's going to have a little bit of
A bit
toe
more,
hang,
more.
which is a trend that we've been seeing a bit more of, as we talked about in the previous show.
Yeah.
So that was good. The Zebra AIT1.
Yeah, shout out to Zebra, they're back.
I'm old enough to remember the original
Oh,
one.
okay.
I had
Yeah,
never
just
heard of them, by the way. Everyone's like, oh, it's back. I was like, never heard of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, back in the day, this was
Oh, yeah.
almost the only mallet putter around.
Really?
And
Yeah.
it
Gosh,
was
can't imagine
used
that
by,
now.
generally, there were no bad putters who used it, but bad players who used it, rather. And it was very low to the ground, and it had weights within it, actually, you could adjust, actually. I think at
could
the
you?
time, you take the sole plate off and put the weights in. So they've recreated it, and I think they've done a very good job. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit deeper. Face insert is good, and it's nice to see it back.
Does it still take you back to that old putt? Does it kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah. It has the same sort of
Bit
look. I mean,
nostalgia.
when
Yeah.
these things get remade, I mean, we probably agree that when the BMW reintroduced the Mini, it was like the Mini. I think it's that type of thing. You know it's the original one.
Right. But
It's got the
just
same
been souped
shape.
up for the
It's
modern
souped
era.
up. It's got the same lines on the top, and I think those lines work in that shape. They have a few other shapes which use the same lines, but it looks better when it's in the original.
That original sort of half moon.
Yeah, so check it out. I think it's a good fun one. It's very solid if you like a rounded mallet, but it's got a lot more competition these days. So if you,
Interesting, yeah.
you've never heard of the original, then it'd be
No.
interesting to see how it goes, because you'll be familiar with, I think Ping and even Callaway do very similar styles with lots of lines on them.
Interesting, that was the only mallet around back in the day, though.
There's one of the few ones, but certainly the one I am going to pick as the choice there, and really having picked something fairly mainstream, I think the Odyssey 5K Tri-Hop putter, it's a series of blade putters. It's got all the technology in it, and the 5K refers to the MOI figure, so it's 5,000
Oh, wow.
grams per centimetre squared.
Thank you very much.
Which is a useless fact, but it is
Good for
fair-
parties, though. Good for
Exactly.
parties.
Yeah. Well, you might need it tonight.
if anyone's using it for New Year's Eve, yeah.
Oh, there you go. So that really refers to the moment of inertia and the twisting of it. So it's a very stable putter, but to get that stability in the blade, it's quite an achievement.
Yeah.
They've got a head which is mixed. It's got steel in it. It's got aluminium. It's got tungsten weights. They've got the white hot insert, and then they're going to put the Stroke Lab shaft in it as well. So they've gone to town
Sounds lovely.
on the whole thing. The head's a bit oversized, so it's lots of forgiveness. And you've got, I actually quite like the double wide, which is
I'm a fan of a double wide blade, actually,
Yeah.
just because a thin blade's a bit intimidating. So it's got the stability of a mallet, but if your eye doesn't suit the sort of complicated look of some mallet shapes,
Yeah.
that's what you'd point someone
Absolutely, yeah. So to have that in a blade, they're slightly oversized blades as well. So I think, if you prefer the look of a blade, but you want high MOI and a lot of forgiveness, then that would be a good choice.
for. Excellent. Well, a strong contender, I think, there, Martin. Well described. I'm going to talk about some trolleys now. Tested a lot this year. Some push carts I've really liked. The Parahedi Micra, I think, looks really cool. It's like a car. Not like a car, but it's got like it's got like sporty wheels.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it looks cool. It
Yeah.
strikes a nice pose for a cart, I guess. And the Big Max Blade IP now, this didn't come out this year, but I think it just needs
A shout
a
out.
shout out. The way it folds
I
up,
would agree.
so flat, but literally like yay flat, the whole thing.
Yeah, if you've got a very small amount of storage space at home, you need to squeeze it in between two things or
Yeah,
something.
there
Then
it
that
goes.
is like,
Did you ever watch the show Brum? It was a show when I was out as a kid, and there was this little car that was sort of sentient, and it would run around Birmingham, getting into all sorts of troubles. But at the end of the day, it would park itself in this tiny little part of the garage.
Right.
That's how I would compare the Blade Max.
Right, okay.
So look out for my review on that. If you haven't seen Brum, go and check it out. I digress. It's also got a handle just for carrying it around. And this would come into my bugbears area. Some trolley manufacturers, you'll have your nicely folded up compact trolley, but you don't know where to grab it to move it from A to B. You find a bit that's sort of structurally integral to it. It isn't supposed to be a handle. This one had a handle, so you can carry like a bag or a briefcase or something.
Okay.
So they were two very good push carts in this year. But my absolute standout, and again, it was in my best trolley video as the best one, was the Motorcaddy M5 GPS. And I know you've got one of these as well, Martin, but I now can't live without that GPS right in my handle. And on an earlier episode of Gear of the Week, I spoke about whether I'd renew the performance plan, which is that sort of added element on top. And I was missing it so much. So I've really enjoyed it this year. And it's pretty compact as well, isn't it? It does fold up pretty small for an electric trolley.
Yes, and that's really the big development in this market. I think all electric trolleys will probably end up being compact trolleys, really, because your car boots are not exactly getting any bigger. And they could do what they do a good one. Paracaddy does a good one as well. And I think that compact electric trolley is the way forward. Yeah, and Motorcaddy is the only one with the GPS in the handle. Paracaddy, as you said, do a good one. But just generally, if you're out for an electric trolley now, you will invest another £100 to £150 or dollars, but it saves you buying any GPS devices, and it's just always there in the handle. I find that convenience of it being there. You call it FAF-free, I believe, is a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, my line on this is always that I like tech, but only when it makes playing golf even smoother.
That's it.
As soon as it gets in the way, it's not for me.
So it becomes an extra added thing to think about.
Yeah, as soon as you're looking at the central console and pressing buttons and thinking, "Where's that gone?" It's not for me. And it's the same with the laser. If it's not particularly easy to get the flag, it's the same with a GPS unit. If it's difficult, whatever it is, when the tech is good, it's great. When it's not good, it gets in the way, and I don't like it. I've used that M5 GPS trolley as well, and I would agree, it's a really good product.
Real standout in the market. It's a great year for golf equipment, chaps.
Yeah, I'm going to have a quick shout out. I would shout out my TaylorMade Stealth driver.
You've loved it, haven't you? It's here sat with us now.
It hasn't offered me like giant leap forward in terms of performance, I wouldn't say. But I would say it has edged me in a better direction.
There you go. That's what you want from a driver sometimes.
I also just think with drivers, it's now becoming a battle around looks and feel and confidence. And all of those elements, the kind of chemistry you have with the product. So yeah, you need to go for a fitting. Yeah, you need to make sure your spin rates and your launches are right. But across the board, the products are fantastic. So it's about which one you think you're going to get on best with, which one's going to give you the most confidence. And it's different for different people. Some people are going to want something that looks bigger, that feels super forgiving. It's going to pop the ball up in the air without too much effort through the ball. Other people are going to want something that's going to just provide maximum power and the strongest ball flight they can find. I probably fall a bit more towards that category. And for me, I thought that it's just got that kind of, it really shouts premium golf product to me. Well, it certainly is. I mean, how did you find the carbon face relative to titanium faces? Because I mean, it's been a while since we've had carbon faces. Did you notice a difference? Did I notice a difference? Sound, feel? Yeah, sound and feel, definitely. That's more of it's more of a muted impact sound than the previous generation, if I can remember that far back. But I like that. For me, it feels really well. It feels powerful. It feels strong through the ball. It feels solid. In terms of balls, I think distance-wise, it was very solid. It wasn't a huge leap forward for me over what I had previously, which was the Titleist TSI 3 driver, but it was very good. And you can see from the smile on the face, you enjoyed it, which is really what you want from golf clubs.
That's so true, actually.
Element of like excitement every time you get it out of the bag. It's kind of what you're after, isn't it?
Do you think 2022 will be remembered as do you think this will be the standard simply because of its red face? And we enter the carbon wood age and all of that came at the start of this year. Do you think ultimately when we reflect on 2022 in 5 years' time, perhaps you might think, oh yeah, that was the year that carbon red face driver came out?
I think so. For me, it's the standout kind of story.
Standout story,
it absolutely is a standout story of the year because I mean it hasn't been in drivers for a very long time, certainly on the face anyway. And it will be interesting in 5 years' time to see where they've taken it. Really, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with it next year. and where they take it from here. You know, will it end up in more clubs, or will it maybe go by the wayside? We'll have to wait and see.
I can't wait to see. And 2023 is going to be exciting. We already know slightly what's coming. We can't tell you anything, just to tease you even more. But it's going to be an exciting year again, as it always is, really, isn't it? It's always fun to have new golf stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
we go again.
we go again, and I think for those of us who upgrade our equipment every year, because we have to.
Sorry, we have to. Sorry, we just do.
It's kind of daunting. She's thinking, well, I just hope everything does move on in the same direction. But if it was a bit of a normal cadence where you're not upgrading everything all the time, then I think there's some exciting stuff to come.
Right, so that about wraps it up for this episode and from 2022, a very exciting year for golf equipment. We look forward to next year. Neil, thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Dan.
Martin, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
And thank you very much for watching. We will see you next year.